Yeah, so just what I have for you today, again we are going to cover forms of poetry. उसमें का जो एक टॉपिक है शेयरिंग विद यू पीडीएफ फाइल, और उसमें जो है you will come to know we have to go LG, we have covered this form also, the ode, we have to go with, yeah, dramatic monologue. Today I will take what? Today I will cover, yeah, today I will take dramatic monologue. It's a very important topic, a very important point. और एक बैलेट भी है, लेकिन अब पहले मैं ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग को कवर कर रहा हूँ, देन आई विल जस्ट टॉक विद यू. When I talk about dramatic monologue, it means that we are also going to talk about dramatic lyric. दो शब्द है, एक ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग है, एक एक ड्रामेटिक लिरिक है. When I talk about monologue, mono means single. If I say कि mono, then mono means single, single. Log means speaker. एक ऐसा पोएट जिसमें केवल सिंगल स्पीकर होता है उसको क्या कहा जाता है? ड्रामेटिक. उसको मोनोलॉग कहा जाता है. बट इन ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग द स्पीकर इज द थर्ड पर्सन. ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग में जो स्पीकर होगा वो थर्ड पर्सन होगा. द स्पीकर विल नॉट बी द पोएट, बट इन ड्रामेटिक लिरिक द स्पीकर विल बी द पोएट. एंड द वन ऑफ द बेस्ट एग्जांपल्स ऑफ ड्रामेटिक लिरिक इज टिंटन अबे. अगर हम बात करें तो एक बड़ा एग्जांपल ड्रामेटिक लिरिक का वो आपका क्या है? टिंटन अबी है. सो हियर आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू dramatic lyric and dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue, already I told you कि it's a form of poetry, but what form of poetry? An objective form of poetry. So remember that a poem in which an imaginary speaker, dramatic monologue में जो स्पीकर होगा वह कैसा स्पीकर होगा? इमेजिनरी स्पीकर. इमेजिनरी स्पीकर का मतलब कि द पोएट विल नॉट बी द स्पीकर, any third person will be the speaker. For example, if you go with the poem Ulysses, Ulysses is an example of dramatic monologue, and Ulysses is what? Ulysses is the speaker. If you go with the poem, that is what, My Last Duchess, you will come to know in My Last Duchess, the Duke is the speaker. So in dramatic monologue, the poet doesn't work as a speaker, but the poet invents an imaginary speaker, and that speaker addresses an audience. The poem usually takes place at a critical moment in the speaker's life and offers an indirect revelation. It's a very significant point. In dramatic monologue, you find the indirect revelation of his soul, our temperament and personality. किसका जो है revelation होता है? Here you find indirect revelation of the soul, our temperament and personality of the speaker. For example, you find the revelation खुलासा करना. किसके खुलासा करना? सोल का, टेम्परामेंट का या पर्सनालिटी का. किसका? that particular speaker means imaginary speaker who addresses the audience. Just as in Tintin, just as in Ulysses, you come to know about the personality of Ulysses. You come to know about his ideology, his thoughts, his family members, and only Ulysses speaks throughout the poem, and other characters work as a listener. Even you find the mentioning of Ulysses' wife Telemachus. You find not Telemachus was his son. You find his aged wife, his son Telemachus, his equal peers, his and the great warriors Achilles also. But you will come to know कि in Ulysses, throughout the poem, only Ulysses speaks. The same thing you find in dramatic monologue. That is My Last Duchess. And in My Last Duchess, you find who is the speaker. The speaker is Duke. Throughout the poem, he only speaks, and you find the indirect revelation of his or her temperament and personality. And the messenger who came with the proposal of marriage, he only hears. He only hears. He only just, you can say, is treated as a guest, doesn't speak. He is mum and silent. So other characters remain silent. Only who speaks? Only an imaginary speaker speaks. So these are the basic characteristics of dramatic monologue. And already I told you कि in dramatic lyric, who will be the speaker? Not imaginary speaker, but you find that the poet himself will be the speaker. As I gave you the example of Tintin Abbey. In Tintin Abbey, poet Wordsworth is the speaker, and his sister Dorothy Wordsworth work as a listener. Dorothy Wordsworth doesn't speak in a single word, so you have to make the distinction between dramatic monologue and dramatic lyric. Now, already I explained ki monologue means when I talk about monologue, you find two syllable. Number one syllable mono and the second syllable is log. Mono means what? Mono means single. Log means speaker means a poem in which you find single speaker throughout the poem. And what do you mean by dramatic? It just dramatic in the sense that you come to know the indirect revelation of the personality or temperament. Monologues are common in plays and longer poems. You find that sometimes monologues are common in plays and longer poems. You don't need to write down this point, but you need only to understand. Monologues are common in plays and longer poems. Satan talks at length about himself and God in Milton's Paradise Lost. Doesn't need to mention these points, but you have to only remember. But the development of dramatic monologue as a distinct kind of poem is associated with the Victorian age. It means that ki dramatic monologue as a poem just flourished in Victorian age. Yeah, it became popular in Victorian age. And who was the poet? Robert Browning. He is known as king of dramatic monologue. Browning has written My Last Duchess, 1842, illustrates the characteristics of the mood. क्या क्या characteristics है? There is an imagined speaker. Dramatic जो monologue है रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग का My Last Duchess, you find that there is an imagined speaker. And who is that imagined speaker? The Duke, who is addressing a representative of the girl, the messenger who came with the proposal of the marriage. And he also what happens in that poem ki Duke just you will come to know ki Duke just comes, and what happened, Duke gives order that his duchess should be killed because she has a generous and benevolent nature. These things you find. Duke, who is addressing a representative of the girl he hopes to marry. The Duke talks about his deceased wife. पूरे पोयम में ड्यूक जो है उस मैसेंजर से who came with the proposal of marriage only talks about the nature of his deceased wife. Yeah, you can say ki the last wife. And what does he tell? He tells that he just gave her smile. She gave her smile to everyone, and I don't like to be what I don't like to stoop before someone. So you will come to know that the Duke talks about his deceased wife. He reveals himself as a tyrant. ये एक important point है. Tyrant that just tells about the personality of the poet. Already अभी मैंने बताया था ना कि इसमें क्या होता है, revelation of the personality, indirect revelation. So you come to know the personality of the Duke, कि what type of Duke he is. वो टायरेंट है, सिनिस्टर है और हॉटी है, स्टबर्न है. दीज आर द एडजेक्टिव्स या वर्ड्स which are appropriate to show the personality of that. He reveals himself as a tyrant who could not tolerate his wife's independence. The monologue is colloquial, following the patterns of the speaker's voice. So here I would like to tell you the objective form of poetry in which you find an imaginative, yeah, imaginary speaker. That speaker addresses an audience, and you find what you find, indirect revelation of the temperament and personality. And you will come to know it became popular in Victorian age in the hands of Robert Browning. He has written so many dramatic monologues, and you will come to know उसमें एक से एक My Last Duchess है. About that poem I told you within some lines, you find a character Duke, and Duke is haughty, sinister, stubborn, something such a type of narrow-minded person who who gives command to kill his wife because his wife was generous, kind-hearted, benevolent, and just treats his wife like a doll and says that she's characterless. she has not used this word, but you will come to know his intention or irada. What was the intention of the duke? That will so duke is a tyrant. So these things you find. All dramatic monologues present one person's response. इसमें you find what? You find only the response of only one person's to life, one person's response to life. As in My Last Duchess, you find the response of only Duke. So that is the point. Many poets offer us their personal view, but Browning is not presenting his own view, rather the way in which an imagined character. Dramatic monologue में क्या आएगा? Imagined characters orders the world. Other poets such as टेनिशन का यूलिसिस बहुत फेमस है ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग. टी.एस. एलियट का लव सॉन्ग ऑफ जे अल्फ्रेड प्रूफ्राक, दैट इज एन example of interior monologue. The difference between interior monologue and dramatic monologue is only one thing, ki you find that ki even the with the help of the outer object, if the outer object has been presented or shown, that only reflects the personality of that character. And who is character? Prufrock. So the inner problem, yeah, you can say ki the thought, emotions, ups and downs of a character has been presented with the help of the outer object. This is why it is known as interior monologue. जो सब कुछ अंदर अंदर घटित हो रहा है उसी ही चीज को लेकर के यहाँ पे बताया जाता है या बात की जाती है. So now you find key and Robert Frost explained the mood in different ways, but point all dramatic monologues have in common is that they do not represent the poet's direct view of life. जितना भी dramatic monologue होगा, they do not represent the poet's direct view of life, but take out step back and examine how imagine characters. Poet जो भी बात कहेगा किसके माध्यम से कहेगा? इमेजिन कैरेक्टर के माध्यम से. ट्राई टू इम्पोज अ शेप एंड इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑन द वर्ल्ड दे इनकाउंटर. So this was what? This was the, you can say ki dramatic monologue, imagine character, revelation of the personality, single speaker. You find the response of only a single person. These things you come to know. What did I tell you? It became popular in Victorian age in the hand of Robert Browning. My Last Duchess is one of the best examples of dramatic monologue. Another example is what? Tennyson's Ulysses and T.S. Eliot's Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. That is what? That is an example of interior monologue. And remember that in dramatic monologue, you don't find what? It does not represent the poet's direct view of life, but out take one step back and examine how imagined characters try to impose a shape and interpretation on the world they encounter. So these were the points. Now, if you go with this matter, ki dramatic monologue is a poetic form. You can just put this point also. Dramatic monologue is a poetic form. It is cast in the in the form of a speech. You need only to understand. But what I told you earlier, if you write any answer, you have to go with these points. If I say ki dramatic monologue is a poetic form, it is cast in the form of a speech addressed to a silent listener. There will be silent listener. Listener will not speak. Listener will only listen. And there will be an imaginative what? There will be an imaginative character. That imaginative character will speak throughout the poem. It is aim its aim is characters study without the other dramatic adjuncts of incident and dialogue. It found particular favor with Browning. Browning का नाम बार बार आएगा कि it became popular in the hand of Browning, who may be called its chief who may be its chief exponent, who may be called its chief exponent. Though Tennyson also used it with masterly skill as in Ulysses. Already I told you सब कुछ वही है. Tithonus उनका poem. So nothing you find कि the thing which I explained earlier, the same thing you find here also. Nothing at all. So you have to go. यू डोंट नीड टू गो विद दीज पॉइंट्स. कुछ नहीं उसमें करना क्योंकि वो शार्ट में अगर आएगा तो आपको बस उतना ही लिखना वहां पर. नाउ द नेक्स्ट थिंग, if I talk about what if I talk yeah, just I want to know did you come to know about dramatic monologue?
Yes, sir.
एनी प्रॉब्लम किसी को? No, not at all. Yeah, now I would like to take another form. देखो देखिए जो दूस
Sir,
yes, yeah, yeah,
interior monologue, can you please define once again, please?
yeah. If I talk about interior
There was a
monologue in
network
interior.
problem. I could not continue. I had to just rejoin.
Okay, okay, okay. Just I want to tell you कि when I talk about interior monologue means only you find the revelation of the personality at inner level. At inner level means you come to know only about the ideology, you come to know only about the thought, you come to know what is occurring within the heart and mind of a character throughout the poem. Even the if you find the poet has used something that is the external object, yeah, any outer structure poet has created, that outer structure has been created to only reveal the hidden point, to only to just to tell you the you can say the internal attributes of a man, or what is happening within the heart and mind of a character. That is the interior monologue, just as love song of J. Alfred Prufrock throughout the poem.
That means it exposes the internal, as you said, uh, at, attributes or philosophical ideas of the personality.
Yeah, that's good. That's yeah,
Right.
these two words are very beautiful words, yeah, to understand
Right.
interior monologue.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay, okay. Now, what I just want to tell you, I just here going to explain some important thing, that is what is epic. If the question come ki what is epic, already I explained mock epic, but you will come to know ki what is epic. If you go with the epic, you will come to know nothing. You have to remember, epic is is an objective form of poetry. It's a long narrative story in verse, and it has grand style, elevated thought. These are the some, you can say, beautiful words associated with the epic. But when I talk about epic, the classic example of the epic in European literature are the Iliad and the Odyssey, written by Homer. We all know it, by the ancient Greek poet Homer, which have served as model to all later epic poets. Each of these great works is a long tail in verse. सबसे पहला पॉइंट तो यही बनेगा कि एपिक इज व्हाट, एपिक इज अ लॉन्ग टेल इन वर्स, एक लंबी कहानी वर्स में, with famous heroes for its principal characters, and it weaves together into an artistic form. इसका जो weaving होगा वो कौन सा होगा, artistic form होगा. So these are the two significant points. Epic is a long tale in verse, and it has what, it has artistic form. It weaves it together into an artistic form. वही सेम चीज मैंने आपको बताया था कि epic is a long narrative story in verse. It has grand style and elevated thought. When I talk about grand style, it means I am talking about artistic form. The many legends of their exploits to generation by word of mouth in song and story. The story of the Iliad, for instance, existing as a folklore. You don't need to write these things. You have to go only with these heads, which I have put here. Just I put in circle. You will come to know ki two generation by word of mouth in song and story. The story of the Iliad, for instance, existing as folklore before Homer collected its scattered fragments together to form a splendid whole. Nothing important here. The events of the epic may have been magnified by tradition and the poet's own imagination. In the development of the epic, two important points plays significant role. Number one, tradition, and number two, imagination. But some of them undoubtedly belong to actual history. Sometimes you find some theme of the epic have been taken from actual history, like the siege of Troy, जो ट्राय का घेरा हुआ था. The mighty mirrors and princes who are the leading figures may really have existed, though in the poem they are given almost superhuman dimension. Though they existed, sometimes they existed, but when they have been presented as heroes or heroines in epic, they have been presented as they have almost given superhuman dimension. It means that what the hero and heroes we find in the epic, they come how just as the superhuman dimension. So again, I would like to tell you, it's a long tail in verse. And what the form will be, artistic form. There will be the artistic form. And in the development of epic, two things magnified, two things contributed: tradition and imagination. And you will come to know that some heroes or some incident or some theme which are presented in the epic on the ground of reality, we find that thing. But sometimes when those characters or heroes presented, they have given superhuman dimension. Their actions are often subject to the personal intervention of the gods who preside over their destinies and form a separate group of characters with their own lovers and rivalries. In almost every classical epic, the supernatural and magical element is always prominent. In epic, another important thing is what? The supernatural and magical element. You can just go with Paradise Lost. The supernatural character, quasi divine figure you find. So you find that particular thing when you come to know कि supernatural character, then you here find कि ये चीजें वहां पे देखने को मिलता है. Whether you talk about Beelzebub, Satan, God, Son of God, Adam, Eve, blissful seat, all these things you find. The language of the poem is of course noble and exalted. जो language होगा वो कैसा होगा? Noble and exalted, as to befit the words and deeds of gods and heroes. और ऐसी लैंग्वेज यूज की जाएगी जो गॉड्स के वर्ड्स को या और भी चीजों के को प्रेजेंट करने में कैपेबल हो. इट इज इन द ग्रांड स्टाइल. मैंने पहले भी वर्ड यूज किया था, ग्रांड स्टाइल, एंड मेक्स नो अटेम्प्ट टू रिजेंबल कॉमन स्पीच. और इसमें कॉमन स्पीच का कोई जगह नहीं होती. कॉमन जैसा कि प्रोजाइक लैंग्वेज वी फाइंड, यू कैन से इन द पोइट्री ऑफ Alexander Pope and John Dryden. Later poets followed the example of Homer not only in the general plan of the epic but also in various matters of detail, such as the following. The theme of the epic is stated. ये उसका खासियत अब बता रहे हैं कि the theme of the epic is stated in the first few lines. The one of the most, yeah, one of the basic characteristic, the theme of the epic is stated in the very first line. Just as you will come to know in Paradise Lost, line number 1 से लेकर 26 तक में ये चीज बताया गया है कि what is the theme, what the character and what the poet wants to say. The theme of the epic is stated in the first few lines, accompanied by a prayer to the muse, and you find the poet always invokes a goddess, that is muse. The statement of the theme is technically called proposition. The statement of the theme is technically called proposition. If anyone say what is proposition, the statement of the theme is known as proposition, and the prayer is known as invocation. The goddess which is invoked, that is known as invocation. As Virgil's Aeneid, which is an invitation of Homer's, which is an imitation of Homer's Iliad, and Milton's Paradise Lost, which follows the Aeneid, both begin with a clearly defined proposition and invocation. दोनों चीजें आई है, proposition भी, invocation. So these two words you have to remember. What is proposition in epic? What is invocation in epic? Proposition का मतलब the statement of the theme. Invocation मतलब the goddess which is invoked. The epic implies certain conventional poetic devices such as Homeric epithet. In epic, you find Homeric simile or Homeric epithet, a term or phrase sometimes quite lengthy, applied again and again to a particular person. And Homeric simile you just use, you find which setting, setting, and to make a comparison.
सर
Yeah,
सर ये मिल्टॉनिक इन्वोकेशन इसी को बोलते हैं
yeah, Miltonic invocation.
सर इसी को बोला जाता है जो पैराडाइज लास्ट में मतलब जो एपिक में
Yeah,
है
Paradise Lost with the Milton has invoked the goddess Muse. That is the Miltonic invocation.
ठीक सर
ठीक है, please mute, please mute. So you find कि setting out to make a comparison between two similar objects develops into a piece of elaborate description a word picture, almost a short poem in itself designed to capture the reader's imagination. So proposition, invocation, you find key the theme, you also find key it is divided into 12 books. These words you have to remember. The action of the epic is often controlled by supernatural agents. In Homer and Virgil, these are classical god and goddess. In Spenser's Fairy Queen, most of the characters are themselves personification of God and good and evil qualities. In Milton's Paradise Lost, of course, there are only two human characters, and they are almost passive in the strife between the parts of heaven and hell. So एक पॉइंट उन्होंने कहा कि the action of the epic is often controlled by supernatural agents. You find the use of supernatural agents. Even in the mock epic, you find the use of supernatural machinery. The epic contains a number of thrilling episodes. उसमें बहुत सारा thrilling episodes होता है, such as the mustering of troops, battle, devils, wanderings, ordeals, and the like. These things you find. In this respect, they are all मॉडल अपॉन होमर और वर्जिल, क्योंकि सबसे पहले होमर या वर्जिल ने लिखा तो जो मॉडल है वही रहा है हम लोगों के सामने, या हम लोगों को मतलब मिल्टन के सामने बाद में जो और भी आया हुआ था. Now you find कि the epic is divided into books, usually 12. So traditional division it is divided into 12 books. And Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, all these things have 24 books each. Spencer Fairy Queen was planned into 12 books, though never completed. क्योंकि उनका डेथ हो गया था, तो दो never completed. And Paradise Lost was raised to that number from the original 10. पहले Paradise Lost 10 में आई थी, फिर बाद में उसको 12 में किया गया था. The moral purpose is not prominent in the early epic. In Homer and Virgil, there is little beyond the appeal to patriotism and national pride. The purpose of Milton's Paradise, ये चीज आप दे सकते हैं कि मिल्टन पैराडाइज लास्ट का जो पर्पस रहा है स्पष्ट है, वह क्या है? टू जस्टिफाई द वेज ऑफ गॉड टू मैन. ईश्वर ने कैसे न्याय किया, तो ये चीज हम पाते हैं, यही उसका थीम भी है. एंड एपिक इज ईदर एज रिजल्ट ऑफ नेचुरल ग्रोथ इन पॉपुलर सॉन्ग. अब यहाँ पे उन्होंने क्या बताया, एपिक के टाइप्स को बताया. एपिक का टाइप क्या होता है? दो होता है. एक तो ट्रेडिशनल एपिक होता है, उसी ट्रेडिशनल एपिक को जो है प्राइमरी एपिक कहा जाता है. दूसरा जो है आपका लिटरेरी एपिक होता है, और उसको क्या कहा जाता है? सेकेंडरी एपिक कहा जाता है. तो ये पहला पैसेज ट्रेडिशनल एपिक को लेकर के है. एंड एपिक इज ईदर अ रिजल्ट ऑफ नेचुरल ग्रोथ इन पॉपुलर सॉन्ग एंड स्टोरी or of conscious literary effect on the part of the artist. The former is variously called the folk epic. जो नेचुरल ग्रोथ में होता है उसको फॉक एपिक या एपिक ऑफ ग्रोथ कहते हैं, और ऑथेंटिक एपिक द लेटर द लिटरेरी एपिक और एपिक ऑफ आर्ट कहा जाता है. अ फॉक एपिक, फॉक इसी को प्राइमरी एपिक भी कहा जाएगा. अ फॉक एपिक इज नॉट द वर्क ऑफ वन मैन, इट्स नॉट द वर्क ऑफ वन मैन. Modern research shows that before being formulated into an artistic whole, it existed in fragments for a long ages, forming the stock in trade of wandering minstrels or storytellers in words. These fragments were later collected together by some poet, known or unknown, and given the shape they bore ever since. So you will come to know कि जो प्राइमरी एपिक है, वह प्राइमरी एपिक एक ऐसा एपिक होता है, या ट्रेडिशनल एपिक और फॉक एपिक और एपिक ऑफ ग्रोथ that exist already, and that is not the work of a particular person or one man. You will come to know it exists already later, and it has been given the written shape, just as Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, that is an example of folk epic or epic of growth, because the stories, characters, and theme which Homer gave the written shape, they were existing already before getting the written shape, and it was learnt by heart, transmitted from generation to generation by the people. So folk epic जो होगा, epic of growth होगा, authentic epic जो होगा, ये पहले oral form में होता है, स्टोरीज कैरेक्टर्स पहले से एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. लेटर ऑन एनी पोएट कम एंड गिव्स इट रिटन शेप उसको. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कि इफ आई टॉक अबाउट रामायण, तो ऐसा नहीं कि वाल्मीकि जी ने जब रामायण को लिखा तो तभी लोग द पीपल केम टू नो अबाउट लॉर्ड रामा और या और किसी को. नो, नॉट एट ऑल. व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट कि बिफोर वाल्मीकि जी द पीपल वर फेमिलियर विद द इवेंट, द थीम, Ramji, Ravana, and other things, you will come to the whole episode, the whole incident. Later on, it was given by a written shape by Valmiki ji. So these things you find. Now, the second passage is related toward the literary epic. A literary epic, on the other hand, is a work of an art deliberately planned in the epic manner in imitation of its original prototype. नंबर वन की जो लिटरेरी एपिक होगा, इट्स द वर्क ऑफ वन मैन, इट्स द वर्क ऑफ वन मैन, एक आदमी का काम होता है। और ये लिटरेरी एपिक इन्वेंट किया जाता है, इट्स द इन्वेंट, इट्स द इंडिविजुअल क्राफ्टमैनशिप ऑफ द पोएट। You find that the poet is capable to write, the poet is able to invent the character, the poet is able to create the whole situation. Even he takes the story, even he takes the subject matter, but the shape that has been given by the poet, it is the product of his own imagination. So you will come to know कि literary epic बहुत मायने रखता है। वर्जिल का एनीड हुआ, पैराडाइज लास्ट हुआ, जॉन मिल्टन का द प्रील्यूड हुआ, these are the examples of the literary epic. Literary epic, on the other hand, is a work of an art deliberately planned in the epic manner in imitation of its original prototype. It is comparatively late product, such as Virgil's Aeneid, Tasso's Jerusalem Delivered, Spenser's Fairy Queen, Milton's Paradise Lost, Camden's Lucy. These things you find. So nothing at all you find. You find कि ये सब चीजें रही हैं, और मैटर जो इससे रिलेटेड रहा वो आप पढ़ लीजिएगा। जस्ट बेसिकली आई एक्सप्लेन व्हाट की छोटा छोटा पॉइंट लेकर के यू कैन जस्ट राइट डाउन अ ब्यूटीफुल शार्ट आंसर एंड यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि क्या क्या चीजें रही। So today what I have covered, today I have covered epic and dramatic monologue. If you have any query or question, you can just ask.
सर बैलेड में और फोक एपिक में कोई डिफरेंस या समानता?
बैलेड में और फॉक एपिक में
जी जी
बहुत बहुत, एक तो देखिए, एक तो समानता भी, एक डिफरेंस भी है। सबसे पहला चीज की मैं आपको समानता बताऊं कि समानता ये है कि दोनों ओरल फॉर्म में रहा है, दोनों ओरल फॉर्म में रहा है, बाद में इसको रिटेन शेप दिया जाता है। एंड सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट कि वो जो है लॉन्ग टेल है और वो शॉर्ट टेल है। डिड यू गेट इट? विंध्याचल जी?
जी जी सर,
या
थैंक यू।
जो आप,
एक और
हाँ, ये
कि जैसे आप एम.एच. अब्राहम हैं, चाहे बी प्रसाद हैं, इनके स्टेटमेंट्स को हम लोग इनका मतलब नाम दे के लिख सकते हैं कि नहीं?
नहीं नहीं, यू डोंट हैव टू राइट कि यू हैव टेकन इट फ्रॉम देयर, बिकॉज व्हेन यू राइट इट एम एच एब्राम्स का, इसका मतलब ये हो गया कि उसमें जरा सा भी गलती नहीं होना चाहिए। उनका पूरा का
जी
पूरा
जी
कामा,
जी।
पूरा का
हाँ
पूरा
हाँ
डबल इन्वर्टेड स्टेटमेंट का मतलब यू आर गिविंग द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ दैट क्रिटिक, तो यू हैव टू पुट इट इन डबल इन्वर्टेड कामा, तो फिर कोई उसमें एक भी कामा का भी गलत नहीं होना चाहिए। But when you say कि it's your own language, you have only taken the content, but you are writing in your own language, so no one is going to say कि you are going to mention B Prasad, you are going to mention M H Abrams. If you are mentioning any critic, it means that कि वह बिल्कुल क्लियर होना चाहिए। जैसे
हाँ, सेम होना
अरिस्टोटल का
चाहिए।
जो डिफिनीशन है ट्रेजिडी का, वो जरूरी है, क्योंकि वो जब देंगे आप अरिस्टोटल का डिफिनीशन, वहीं एक जगह मैंने कहा था कि आपको इसको डबल इन्वर्टेड कामा में करके करना। अदरवाइज आई सेड कि दैट यू हैव टू डेवलप योर ओन लैंग्वेज, योर ओन लैंग्वेज यू हैव टू
Yes, sir.
डेवलप।
इसका कोई अंतर तो नहीं पड़ेगा सर अगर हम अपनी लैंग्वेज में
कोई
लिखते हैं तो?
नहीं, नॉट एट ऑल, बिकॉज जो आप अपनी लैंग्वेज कर रहे हैं, दैट इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ पी प्रसाद, दैट इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ एम एच अब्राहम, बट यू डोंट हैव टू मेंशन की इन द वर्ड्स ऑफ एम एच अब्राहम। इफ यू राइट डाउन की
यस
इन द वर्ड्स ऑफ एम एच अब्राहम, इट मीन दैट यू हैव टू से ईच एंड एवरीथिंग इन डबल इन्वर्टेड कामा। फिर कहीं पे आप भूल सकते हैं, कोई वर्ड आपको नहीं याद रहा तो आगे कैसे उसको करेंगे, उससे बचने के लिए। बाकी जो जितना
जी
भी
जी।
वर्ड है, प्रोपोजिशन है, इन्वोकेशन है, लिटरेरी बैलड है, सेकेंडरी लिटरेरी एपिक, सेकेंडरी एपिक, यू कांट फॉरगेट ना, ये तो बिल्कुल सब चीजें रहती हैं। दीज वर्ड्स को ही आपको थोड़ा सा एलाबोरेट करना है पॉइंट में।
यस।
ठीक, ओके।